Give it just till just give it till the 9. As usual, or actually specifically today, have a couple of blocks, even if you don't normally take some blocks. And do you have some sort of a yoga strap or something that's like this? It could even be a resistance band.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got something like that. Yeah. It could be a resistance band too.
Yeah.
Okay. So the focus of today is the whole hip structure. So really aiming for mobility and strength and flexibility. So just in the hips, we have the psoas, which connects to our femur, goes up to the middle of our body, connecting the upper and the lower body. That's our hip flexor. And we have glute medius on the side, glute max and minimus, and then piriformis in the back. And those are the big muscles. And then there's these smaller muscles that nobody talks about and that you wouldn't think about unless like somehow one of them hurt you in a particular way, they're nicknamed the go-go cues. And obturator is one of them, but there's just kind of these other little connecting things. And they are, and so we're going to strengthen them too, along with everything else that we're doing, because kind of just by some of these actions, we'll get into those muscles that we don't normally think about.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and start on our back, and just kind of settling yourself down. I like to kind of maybe lift my ribs a little bit and then let those shoulder blades settle underneath me and invite my arm bones into the socket, so my shoulders drop back down on the mat. And I like to lift my pelvis so I can lengthen my spine underneath me. I have all the natural curves in my body that I would have if I was standing. So my lumbar curve and my neck curve. I'm going to look at this computer because it's making a tiny bit of noise, which I wish it wasn't making, but I think it was just all right, I think it's unavoidable. All right, good. So, so just feeling comfortably, come into your breath here on the ground. So usually I'll just sort of gradually deepen my breath. So feeling it in my chest, adding the inhalation into my belly, and then seeing if I can invite it so I feel like the air flows all the way down into my lower abdominals, which gets into my hip region. So just kind of slowly adding a deeper inhalation so you can feel how it goes in there. And then feel how the pelvic floor in this whole region responds to an exhale. So we're talking specifically about the hips today, but of course the pelvic floor is inside that system. All right, so we'll start with some classic movements. So I would like my knees bent and my heels are pretty much under my knees. So I'm supported for bridge. We're going to take bridge with a pelvic tilt. So sort of starting to be really aware of this pelvis motion here. So I'm going to inhale just regular. Then when I exhale, I'm pulling my belly button to the spine. So my whole back is now on the floor. And my hip bones have lifted up, and then they're going to keep lifting me into the bridge. So it's a line from my knees to the shoulders at the top of the bridge. And then when I inhale, I'm just going to go one vertebrae at a time and take it down nice and slowly. So my back is back on the floor, my sacrum comes down on the floor, and then at the very end of it, I release the tilt. right? So I'm all in black, so it's probably subtle to watch me, but you can just sort of feel it in your body. So we're just having a little extra attention to this pelvis movement inside of bridge. And I'm bringing your attention to this right now, because when we come around for cat and cow, we're going to pay specific attention to what our hips are doing in that pose. So a couple more just like this, nice and easy with the breath. So this is an exhale, and I'm up, and I inhale and float back down. Great, and just pull both knees in, whatever is for you, and just hug, maybe rock your sacrum a little bit. And then let's lengthen our left leg out, and we can just relax that foot, no action with the foot, and keep the right knee hugged in. And we're gonna just do a little kind of mobility massage by taking this hip through its range of motion. So I'm hugged in here, which is flexion. I'm going to use my right hand and push my knee out so it's externally rotated. So pushing it away from you so it's externally rotated. I do want to keep this hip down, so I don't want to roll away with this external rotation. And then I'm going to come back to center, so I'm back to like a flexion position. Then I want to take it internal, and everybody has, you've got less internal rotation than external rotation. So this is not going to go as far as you go when you're externally rotated. And then come back around again. So we're just going to do 3 in this direction, just kind of making this circle. The femur is kind of massaging in that hip joint there. And then let's take it the other way. So I'm back to flexion center. I'm going to push it internal, take it back to flexion, take it to external, and come back around again. So I just want to do 2 more just like that. Beautiful. Hug it in just one last time, and then lengthen that leg. And let's just have this little mini Savasana moment where we're just noticing anything we might notice from having worked one side before taking the second side. And then I'll pull my left knee in, and your range of motion might be different one side or the other side. Again, the right foot's super relaxed, right leg is relaxed. My left hand is going to take it to external rotation, keeping the right hip down, take it back to center, take it across internal, and come back up. So just noticing any differences in your body. In my body, it's harder for my right hip to stay down than my left hip, so I've got to be really aware of that when I take it into that external rotation, because my right hip wants to roll over. So last time in this direction, come back to the center place, and then we'll take it the other way. So I'm going to go internal, back to center, external, center. Keep going 2 more in this direction. Great, and hug it in, and then lengthen away. And so once again, let's have this mini Savasana where we just notice what we notice. All right, great. So we're going to do some activation with the psoas, and we're going to try it 2 different ways. So first, we're just lying stretched out, and we'll have relaxed feet. And all I want to do is I'm going to lift my right leg up in the air and take it up as high as is comfortable for me. Some people end up with not a straight leg, and that's okay too. Whatever it is for me, I'm just going to lift and lower my right leg, lift and lower my left leg. So what's happening here is that when I lift it, my psoas is contracting to flex my hip, and then it stretches and lengthens when I lower my leg down. So one more time each side. Beautiful. And the next thing I'm going to do is I want to take one of my blocks, and I'm going to put it at its lowest level. And I'm going to lift up my hips and put it underneath my sacrum. So I don't want to catch any vertebrae So I'm catching S1, S2, etc., but I don't want L5 or L4. So my vertebrae are just are off the block completely. And I'll start with my left knee bent. And I'll take my right leg up in the air. Again, if I've got to bend, that's okay. It's roughly 90 degrees in the air, right? So whatever it is, let's go ahead and flex it this time. Flex the foot this time. So what I'm going to do is the same thing we were just doing. So right now I'm in hip flexion. So the psoas is pulling my leg up into the air, and then I'm going to float it down. Pull it back up again and float it down and up and float it down. Now take it up a little variation, stretch out the left leg. So now the left psoas is a little more stretched underneath this, and then let's do it again. It just feels a little bit different when my legs are stretched out, and a little more profound in the back bend from being on the block when my leg is stretched out. And then end with my leg down, relax both feet, and just have a little moment where I'm stretching both sides. And then slide the right knee in to be bent, flex the left foot, and we'll go again here. Now I'm talking in this sequence exclusively about the psoas, but there are the smaller muscles are also participating. Lift this up, let's straighten the right leg underneath us, and we'll just do 3 more like this. And then stay down and just have a moment where you're stretching everything out. Do have this profound back bend here. And then you can bring your feet in so you can take yourself off of the block and put it comfortably away. And let's go ahead and we'll come around for cat and cow next. I realized one thing I want to adjust on the computer. I found the thing I think that was making a little ding ding. Oh, right. So for cow, my hands are underneath my shoulders, my knees are underneath my hips. And if I have any trouble with my wrists, I can be on fists. But if I'm not on fists, I like to really spread my hands so that my fingers, as well as my whole hand, is helping, so it's not just landing on my wrist, if you will. And I'm going to broaden my collarbone. Our bones are in the socket. So feeling really solid in the arm balance part of this pose, shared obviously with leg support. And I indicated we wanted to really pay attention to what the pelvis is doing here. So for cow, I'm going to inhale and fill my belly and tip that pelvis up, pull my shoulders back, and then eventually my head is going to look up. Whatever this is for me, for my cow. Then when I exhale, I'm pulling my pelvic, coming into the pelvic tilt as my head drops, my shoulders come forward, and my belly button's going up to my spine, not unlike when I pressed my floor, my back against the floor when I was supine. So keep going just like that with your breath, and just have just a little extra attention on how it feels in your hip structure to take yourself through this rotation of the pelvis from this anterior tilt into this posterior tilt. So keep going just like that. Oh, a couple more times. And then inhale into neutral. So in neutral, my pelvis is in neutral as well, right? So I'm not tipped up, I'm not pulled down. I'm just long tailbone right there. Great. And let's do some similar hip circles to what we did supine. We're going to do these hip circles now on all fours. So my arms are going to stay connected the whole time. And what I want to do is I'm going to pull so I'm flexing the hip, pulling my knee in. I'm going to take it to external rotation. And now because I'm in the air, I can take it into extension, which is the other thing my hip can do, take me into extension. And then when I come back down, I'm going to pull it internal. Then I'm going to go again. So we're going to do 3 and 3. I thought stop the noises, but I didn't. And then come back around. All right, and rest it, maybe shake everything out a little bit. And then we'll take the second side. I'll turn around so that my second side is evident. So I'm going to pull in, take it external, take it into extension, pull it around, take it internal. That was 3. Now I'm going to go the other way, take it back and around. Beautiful. And once you're there, you can bring your toes together, separate your knees a little bit. Let's slide our hips back, slide our arms forward into child's pose, and I can let my forehead come down on the mat if that's comfortable for me. Your hips go back. Everyone's different in terms of how low their hips are, but they go back. I found the other noisemaker. So breathing in your child's pose. Beautiful. Then let's come back up to all fours and invite our first down dog of the day. So I'm going to tuck my toes and feel my arms strong underneath me. Broaden that collarbone. So arm bones are in the socket before I come up into down dog. Toes are tucked. Let's inhale. So my knees float and then my hips float all the way up. And I pedal when I get there, but really feel even. The weight is even in my hands and in my feet. Beautiful. And then finish pedaling and just inhale and really lift the hips up and away. Your chest feels like it's melting towards your thighs. Your arms are right by your ears. Your head and neck is relaxed. Inhale here. Exhale. And then let's inhale to a plank. So drop down to a plank and breathe here for a moment. Then we're going to lower ourselves to the ground, and you're welcome to just put your knees down and your chest down. That's the easiest way to get down. Or you can do a half chaturanga, or you can do a full chaturanga. So however you want to get down to the ground, nice and easy for you. My hands are underneath my shoulders. My head is in line with my spine, so I'm looking straight down. And now we're going to come into cobra. So really feel how your hips are anchored on the mat. Your legs are anchored on the mat too, hugging the midline. And you're going to press your hands down and inhale. You're coming into cobra. So coming into this back bend. Hug the elbows in. You might be as high as me. You might be a little bit lower. Wherever you're comfortable, but feel the hips kind of stretching up, but anchored onto the mat. And exhale back down. So a couple more of those. So inhale up. And exhale down. Up. And exhale down. So let's explore full locust while we're here. So I'm going to take my arms back behind me, and I'm going to roll my shoulders back. So I'm reaching up. I wanted to clasp. I could clasp as well. So whatever I like to do here. And when I inhale up, my upper body and my lower body are going to come up, and my hips will stay connected, obviously, and my hip bone's underneath me. So I'm going to inhale, so everything comes up. Just feel how you're stretching your whole hip region, but you're anchored. And exhale down, a couple more like that. Let's take 2 more here. Beautiful. Put your hands down. Let's just come back up, and then we're going to sit around in a 90 and 90 position. So that means I'm putting my front leg to a 90 degree, my back leg to a 90 degree. So it looks like that from the front. It looks like that from the side. And when I'm here, this is my right leg, this is my left leg. My right hip is a little bit off the ground, right? And I don't want to try to force it down because it wouldn't be forced. Okay. So I'm here, and we just sort of want to explore, what can I do in this place that I'm in right now, in this 90 degrees, okay? So let's inhale our arms up. So one of the things I can do is I can stretch over towards my right leg. And I can inhale back up, and then I can turn my body in this direction. And I can come back up, let my arms down this time. And I can actually, I'm going to turn again so it's clear. I can do something that is a little counterintuitive, because I think my legs feel pretty down there on the ground, but I can, in fact, lift up this back leg a little bit. And I feel it right in the hip when I do it. So just do a few of these where I just lift this, and it's barely out. I get it. It's barely off the ground, right? It's hardly anything there, but it's very strengthening into this. It's sort of doing things in this inside the hip that's really useful. Couple more. All right, great. So when you come out, just sort of take your legs in front of you, maybe like a small V. Your legs are coming right out of your hips, and pedal. And then we'll go to the second side. So now my right leg's in front, my left leg's on the side. I'm going to sit up nice and tall. Feel settled there. I'm gonna and for me, this feels pretty different. That has to do with my hip structure. Where I feel a little lower. I'm a little lower down. My left hip is a little lower to the ground than my right hip was. So you might notice something like that too. So inhale my arms up. Let's take me over, twisting towards the left. I mean, side stretch towards the left. And then come up, inhale, and then exhale and do your twist this way. And coming back. And then let's just do that little bit of lifting the leg. So yeah, it's so funny. It's different for me this side. We learn things. We're two-sided beings. Couple more. All right, and then just stick your legs out. All right. Let us come back around to all fours, and we will take ourselves up into down dog. So tuck in those toes. Let's inhale, knees and hips all the way up. Open our mouths and exhale. Let's inhale our right leg up, and exhale, step our right foot forward near our hands. But if I need to do a couple of steps, that's okay. And drop my left knee down where I'm really stretching this hip flexor. So I'm really kind of lowering the hip down here. This knee is stacked over my ankle. And I'm going to inhale here. I'm going to exhale and push my hip back into a half split. So straightening the front leg, and inhale forward. And exhale back. So there's a lot of sensation in the leg, but notice as well how the hips feel here. Exhale back. Then inhale forward. My hands are down. I'm going to tuck my left toes so I can inhale up, back into down dog. Open my mouth and exhale. Inhale my left leg up. Exhale, put my left foot forward similarly. Dropping the right where I've got this nice dropped hip flexor stretch going on here. Inhale here. Exhale back for the straightening the hamstring on the left. Inhale forward. Exhale. Inhale forward. And exhale. Let's inhale forward. Hands, let's tuck our right toes so we can inhale back up into downward facing dog. Now from mouth and exhale. All right, beautiful. Let us inhale on our tippy toes. Exhale, walk forward, forward fold. So everything's really bent. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up, and exhale, hands in front of your. Great. We will start a standing series now. So let's stand hip width apart, facing the short edge of our mat. Let's do have our blocks approximate somewhere. And I'm going to inhale and grow taller. Put my hands together, Anjali Mudra, in front of my heart. I'm going to exhale into chair. So I can go deeply into chair. I can be less deep. Wherever your chair is comfortable is good by me. And facing, looking straight down, I'm going to inhale here. I'm going to exhale and twist to the right, shoulders and rib cage. Inhale back to center, exhale, twist to the left. Inhale back to center. So now picture before you do it, you're going to step your right foot back into warrior two and swing and open your arms around into warrior two with one gesture. Let's inhale together here. And then let's exhale to step and swing open, and you're in warrior two. Beautiful. So let's talk about the setup. I want to feel both edges of both feet. So I'm really connected underneath me. The energy is coming up my legs. My core is engaged, elevating up. My chest is elevated. My collarbone is broad. My upper body is aimed towards the long edge of my mat, but my hips are comfortably wherever they are for me. And I'm going to inhale here. I'm going to exhale to reverse. I'm going to inhale and exhale, side angle. So I'm going to elbow on my arm, and I'm going to reach my top arm up and over, but my shoulder stays down. Then inhale up, exhale to reverse. And then inhale up, and I want to exhale, and I want to step right into chair. So exhale, I'm stepping right into chair. There I am. I'm going to inhale here. I'm going to exhale, turn to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, turn to the right. Inhale, center. I'm going to exhale and step into warrior two on my second side. Reassert from the feet, energy up the legs, core engaged, chest elevated, collarbone broad. Inhale here. Exhale to reverse. Inhale, arms up. Exhale over into side angle. Inhale up, exhale to reverse. And inhale, arms up, and exhale, and step right into chair. So my arms are in Anjali Mudra. Now, what I want to add now is to lengthen my arms. So I've got, so just kind of just drop them down right where they are. Arm bones are in the socket, collarbone is dropped. Now, bring them up. And for you, you might be happy when they're just kind of in line with your shoulders, or you could bring them up further so they're on either side of your ears. So wherever you're happy is good for me. Inhale here. Then we're going to exhale and step into reverse warrior, skipping warrior two. So exhale and step yourself right into reverse warrior. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, side angle. We're not going to stay as long. Inhale, up, exhale, reverse. Inhale, up, exhale, side angle. So here's my starting point. Now I want to revolve my shoulders and my rib cage around to the back of the room into revolved side angle. So I'm here. And then I'm going to just sort of turn all the way around. This foot can just kind of come down. Maybe it's on the floor, maybe it's on the block. And twist behind you. And just feel what that twist, how that twist registers in the hips. And then inhale around and exhale to reverse. Inhale, we're going to step right into our chair pose with the arms in whatever position we liked. And inhale here. Exhale, step into reverse warrior second side. Inhale, arms up, exhale, angle. Inhale up, exhale, reverse. Inhale, exhale, side angle. So here's your starting point. And then you're rotating your shoulders and your ribcage all the way around to the back of your room. Keep both feet anchored underneath you. And then inhale back and up and exhale to reverse. Inhale up and then let's exhale and we're stepping back into chair. All right, so we're going to add on this. So I'm going to inhale here. I'm going to exhale and reverse side one. Inhale up, exhale. Inhale, I'm up and back and exhale, reverse. Inhale, side angle. It takes me around to the revolve side angle. Inhale back and exhale. And then inhale, just face the short edge of my mat. I want to get involved with warrior three and I'm in warrior one. I want to get involved with warrior three and I want to open to half moon. So hip action. So what I want to show you is that I don't have the perfect setup to show you this. I am going to pretend, so you've got two options here. If you would rather do it at a wall, so I'm going to use my pole as a wall. And that would be the first way I show this. So watch me for one. So what I want to do is I want to just kind of go ahead and come forward. So my hands go on my wall. My hips are square to the short edge of my mat. And I'm going to just float up into, I need to do that. I need to float up into warrior three. So my hip bones are aimed down. Now I want to open into half moon. So I can start with, keep both hands here. And just open my hip into half moon. And then once I'm set, I can open the rest of my body into half moon. Okay, so that's one way to do it, all right? Coming away. So if I can be a little bit lower, I can do it on my blocks. So a couple of choices, okay? So if I'm going to be on my blocks, I'm here, in warrior one. So I just want to kind of flat back down, connect with my blocks, and then I'm going to float my right leg up. And again, my hip is turned in, so my hip bones are aimed down, and I'm in warrior three. And my hands are on both blocks. Then what's going to happen is I'm going to start to open the hip. And then once when I want to open the upper body, I've got to be on one block. So see if you're good. And then come out of it and square the hips again. Inhale here. And then step back and exhale and reverse your warrior. Gorgeous. Are we okay?
Yep.
And then inhale up. Let's exhale. I'm going to step back into my chair. And I'm going to go the other way. Inhale. Exhale. For second side. So my left leg steps back. Inhale up. Exhale. We've got side angle first. Inhale up and exhale. Inhale up, exhale, side angle, and inhale and exhale, reverse, revolve the side angle, and then inhale and come back up and exhale. And then inhale, you're facing the front, so you're ready to go. Exhale, just flat back forward so you can connect your hands, and then square your hips, float the left leg up into warrior three, and then begin to open the hip. And then open the shoulder two for half moon. And then take yourself back to your warrior three. And then step back, bending the knee, exhale, reverse. And inhale up. And now you can exhale and step out and just shake everything out. That was a lot. That was a lot. But we liked it. Next up, we're going to do a similar thing to what we did when we were supine with the psoas. So I'm standing up, hip width apart. I'm gonna do this from the side so it's clear. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna inhale, I'm really tall, and then I'm gonna exhale and I'm gonna just tap, so I'm gonna extend my right leg back behind me. Inhale again, then I'm gonna exhale and just kick. Inhale. So see how it's the same thing we were doing when we were lifting and lowering the leg on the ground, but we're doing it in the air now. And this psoas muscle that starts here inside and ends here is doing the work. One more. All right, shake that out. We can do the second leg. So inhale nice and tall. Exhale to step back. Let's inhale and exhale to kick. More. All right, great. Now I'm going to do some hip stuff that really is a little less yoga and really comes out of my jazz training. So I'm going to stand hip width apart. And I want to soften my knees a little bit. And I just want to play with what can my hips do, right? We identified that they can externally rotate, they can flex, they can internally rotate, they can extend, right? So they do those things, but they also can, just my hips can move on their own. So what I want to do is I've got this flouncy sweatshirt on. I'm going to push my hip to the left, back to center, and I'm going to push it to the right. So I'm just going to go left, right, left, right. So I do like to have soft knees here. So my hips are free to go. So just sort of feel what that feels like. Feel where you feel it. You might feel it in your back. You might feel it in the side. You might feel it internally. All right, and then stop that for a second. And then the other thing I can do is that pelvic tilt action, right? So I can push my hips back and I can pull them forward. So I can go back and forward, back and forward. And then therefore I can make circles, right? So I can go forward, I can go to the side, I can go back, I can go to the other side, I can come forward again. I can go side, back, right? So I can make these circles. So again, I do like these soft knees, and I'm just changing direction whenever I want to change direction. And just feel what it feels like. More times. All right, shake everything out. Excellent. All right. Let us come back to the front of our mat. Let's inhale our arms up. Let's exhale, forward fold. So everything bends, takes me down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then take my knees under me and just turn around. We're going to start in Dandasana. So I'm going to stretch my legs out. I want to sit up nice and tall. Sometimes I sort of take my cheeks out underneath me. And I'm going to flex my feet and stretch my fingers long. And then just do the opposite. Flex your wrist and point your toes. And just alternate that. Relieving the hardworking ankles and wrists that did a lot for us during our practice. All right, great. Now, we're going to activate the psoas one more time, which is very similar. That if I lift this leg up, it's the psoas that's going to do it, right? So it's harder, it's not going to come very high. So I can have my hands down, or maybe I don't need my hands, whatever. I want to sit up nice and tall, but I don't want to be back here. I want to sit up nice and tall. So I'm just trying to see, can I lift the leg? So again, it's psoas, So as you can have a straight leg, might be easier if the knee is bent. Still the same action, nice and tall. All right, take a break from that. Pedal out, pedal out. Good. So let's just do a nice little side flow in partly in gate, kind of gate pose-ish. So let's inhale nice and tall. When I exhale, I'm going to stretch out my right leg and land on my left arm. And when I do this, I do like to bring this shoulder blade underneath me here, okay? And then take this arm up and over. So let's come here. Inhale here. And then I want you to exhale and come up and come over into like a mini, like a low side angle. So that's the flow. So inhale here, exhale, come all the way up and over. Perfect. Two more. Beautiful. Let's come back to center so we can go other side. So inhale, I'm tall. Exhale. And then inhale, come up into your low side angle. Yeah, one more here. Beautiful. So we'll come around now to our back. Supine one more time. And we've got a little bit of work. We've got stretching. So what I'd like to do is, be solid on your hips underneath you, long tailbone underneath you. And just march, just notice kind of what in your hips are contributing to this ability to march like this. And then we're gonna march in bridge too. So march a little bit like that. And then go ahead and inhale yourself up. And then you're just gonna breathe naturally and just march inside of your bridge. So you're trying to keep everything really even. So you don't want to be wiggling from side to side like Marilyn Monroe. You're just kind of keeping everything tight and controlled. And just feel what it's like to march. So really activating glute med on each side of our leg. Great, come back down. Tuck your knees in. Rock your sacrum. Let's take our legs out. So reach away from you and separate your feet so they're on either side of your mat. Still feel long in your spine. And we're going to just drop the knees from side to side. So this windshield wipering of the knees. And just relax your core and just notice how your hips feel here. Notice kind of essentially where you have sensation with this rocking motion. Times. All right, great. So we're gonna build into a spinal twist with some hip work with the strap. So if you can take your strap, and we're going to lengthen my left leg underneath me, and the foot can be really relaxed. And then put the strap on the bottom of my right foot and hold on to it with both hands, and then whatever, if I can straighten my leg, great. If I can't straighten my leg, that's okay. And I'm trying with my arms to lengthen my hamstring, so I'm pulling my foot towards my head. So everybody's gonna be a little bit different on this range of motion, that's okay. So you're stretching the whole hamstring, which stretches into the glute, right? So it connects right into the glute. So we're stretching that whole area. Just breathe here. Beautiful. So now I'm gonna have my right hand on the strap. I'm gonna keep my left hip down, and my left hand can even be just on that hip bone to remind it. And I'm gonna drop open, so externally rotate the leg out to the side as far as it's comfortable for me, and I'm holding on to it with the strap, right? So I'm in control of how low it goes with the strap, and just breathe here. Up 90 degrees, you don't have to pull it into that hamstring place, and then switch hands. So now we're gonna let it cross. This time my hip is gonna roll up, and I'm just gonna cross all the way, and probably my foot's gonna end up on the ground, but I can still hold on to it with the strap. And now I'm gonna twist, right? So I wanna roll my head around. So I'm looking at you now, but I wanna reach my right arm out, and I'm gonna turn my head around and look out over my right hand and breathe here. So we complete the spinal twist. All right, so come back to center with your head and your leg. And give it a little bit of a hug. Take the strap off, stretch it out. And let's just have this mini Savasana moment where we just notice how the right feels versus how the left feels. And then I'm going to bend my left knee, put the strap on my left foot, and start in this hamstring place first. So I'm holding on with both hands, drawing the foot towards my head. If my knee has to bend, that's okay. Everybody's a little bit different here, and just breathe here. I just like to encourage everybody to kind of be in your body and go with what your body's telling you to do, because that's the best guide. Actually, I have a little tremor in this leg today in this position. All right, so now I'm going to hold onto it with my left hand. My right hand is going to be on my right hip because I want to keep that hip down. I already explained that for my body, that wants to roll over. And then I'm just going to open this left leg as far as is comfortable for me. I'm pretty much on my elbow here, but holding onto it and breathe here. and on up to center. But grab it with the right hand. So we're gonna take our leg all the way over. The hip comes right on up and come into a lower spinal twist, and then stretch your left arm up, turn your head. You'll complete the spinal twist by looking out over your left hand, and we'll breathe here. All the way up. Free it up as you bend this left knee in. Stretch out and just have, again, another little mini savasana. So I just feel how I feel. And then we're on our way to savasana. So let's go ahead and happy baby. And I was actually just reading the other day that happy baby is actually a really nice way to stretch your pelvic floor. We tend to emphasize strengthening the pelvic floor, but I was reading that sometimes it actually just needs to be stretched, and happy baby is a great way to relax the pelvic floor. And then when you feel ready and organized, let's lengthen our legs. Again, always just relax the feet. I like a long spine underneath me. Take my arms down by my side, and if I turn my palms up, it's going to allow my arm bones to open, drop back in a nice way. But I also can, once I'm there, put a hand on my heart and a hand on my belly if I prefer that. And let's come into our breath for Savasana. And coming out of practice, you apply gradually deepen your breath. With each inhalation, just inviting the air to get a little bit lower in your body so you can kind of basically kind of wash the hips with some air. And let's just notice the hips a little bit. So bring your attention into your psoas, and I usually, the psoas does start in the middle of the body, around T12, but I don't feel it much until it's in this lower part of its range, but I do feel it down here. So just notice what you feel of your psoas, two twin muscles. And then come around and notice what you feel on the side, glute medius on the side. And you're lying on top of it, but how does glute max and glute min and piriformis feel? I mean, anything that you notice underneath you. Let's just trace the bones a little bit. So put your hands on your hip bones so you can feel your hip bones. And then picture the structure of the socket and where the femur comes into the socket. Picture the sits bones. And picture the sacrum. And then we'll just be quietly in our breath for a few moments for Savasana. deep in your breath. Your ankles and your wrists. And let that grow into stretching. Noticing how your hips feel inside the stretch. And you could roll to one side, if you'd like to, you can rock up. And I kind of sometimes like to rock a few times to give a little spinal massage before I come up to a seat. And then I can come up to a nice seat. So this is the first time we've sat in easy seat today. If this is comfortable, you can have your legs out, you can sit however you're comfortable. But lengthening your torso, landing your shoulders right over your hips. You're on your sits bones and your crown is reaching to the sky. Your hands are probably on your knees, palms down or palms up. Let's inhale through our nostrils. Exhale, really sigh it out and see if you can sigh down to the hip. Inhale and sigh it out. Sigh it out. For joining me for this hip exploration, deep strength and mobility and flexibility. Getting to know some of those smaller hip muscles. And my intention for next Saturday is to have like a leg power day where we're really focused on the legs, which will include the feet and the ankles and everything. So thank you for joining. I'll stop the recording. Oh, I am recording. Oh, there it is. They, you know, it's so funny.